Welcome everybody to the first blame game of the summer split 2017. Now I'm very sorry for my absence last week, but if you haven't noticed, things have been a little crazy around here between the Delta Fox and Yahoo and all that stuff. But not as crazy as the NALCS. We'll kick things off with everyone's favorite team in TSM. Now things have started a little slower for them in the summer split than everyone was expecting, and a lot of that blame has fallen onto Sven. We're all familiar with his risky invades, but how much of this Dignitas series can you really put on him? Sven actually had a handful of good invades during the series, like this one at 7 minutes in game 1 that results in a kill, and this one at 8 minutes in game 2. Now this one actually turned sour for 2 reasons despite being a good idea. First, Dignitas reacts super quickly to this invade, as it seems like Shrimp is predicting him to be there as he wards the brush before he really checks the blue. Second, as Dignitas is collapsing quickly, Biofrost reacts slowly to Lod and misses the W knockup on him. There's no way that Lod should have been able to walk past Biofrost and Bjergsen to be able to clean up that kill onto Sven. This likely should have ended up a 1-for-1 scenario at worst. In game 3, which is probably where a lot of this hate comes from, Sven gets repeatedly picked off. Now a lot of the time he's with his team, so it's not really a Sven, oh my god, what are you doing there kind of questions, but it's still a little concerning and seems like he's mispositioning for a lot of these situations. I think it's fair to criticize Sven for his play so far this split, as it hasn't been really compelling, but it does feel a little undeserved when you consider it's probably not the biggest issue facing TSM. That would be their inability to play around 2 dominant side lanes. Doublelift has returned as the king of the lane for AD carries, topping the charts in XP differential at 10, gold differential at 10, and CS differential at 10. Last split, Hanser was top 3 in all those metrics, as well as having a massive lead in the number of kills while keeping his deaths low. This split, while his CS differential at 10 is super high, his gold differential and XP differential at 10 don't match. The reason is simple. Look at his deaths and you see that he leads the league in deaths for top laners. It would appear that without having Sven play around the top half of the map as much as last split, Hanser is dying as he tries to pressure without the backup. If you don't want to rely completely on numbers, well, just look at the games from the Dignitas series. In game 1, as TSM has 2 pressure lanes in the top and bot lane, Sven heads down to the bot lane to 3-man siege and break the first turret. During this time, Hanser dies to a gank on the top side. Game 3 has kind of the opposite problem, as Doublelift gets caught out as Dignitas counters a dive that TSM is setting up in the top lane. I'm sure he's playing a little worse individually this split, but the bigger problem feels like he's not getting as many resources to be able to snowball his leads as TSM struggles to find their identity. Our other topic this week comes from another top 3 team from last split struggling in Phoenix 1. Now, this team looks nothing like their previous form, and as a result, the Stunt Shady support swap has been heavily discussed. This one's a little tricky for me. Based purely off results-oriented thinking, you would have to say this was a bad decision. Sometimes it's better to have a dysfunctional winning team than a happy losing team. I'm not really convinced that's even the case with this swap, but there's a ton of stuff this team is struggling with beyond the support position. Zig, Ryu, and Arrow look almost nothing like they did last split. It's hard to put all 3 of those laners looking worse on Stunt or Shady when neither of them were super important in terms of their in-game play or probably their leadership. Since nothing else has changed with the team, it's very, very hard for us on the outside to talk about anything other than the support swap, but there's clearly more wrong with this team than just that. This High 5 Comment of the Week award is brought to you by my patrons William Asher and Gabriel Jimenez and goes to Kira Senpai. This one's a little bit controversial just because the initial joke is so good. It was made in response to the Blitzcrank hook bug in the TSM series. That said, nothing ruins a good joke faster than commenting on the fact that you made a good joke. It's like you surprised yourself with the fact that you're funny at all. Now, I obviously want to reward the joke, but also take this time to teach you youngsters a lesson. Editing your post to comment on the fact that it's highly upvoted or retweeting your own thing saying, wow, this banged, is basically the lamest thing you can do. That does it for this episode of the Blame Game. Now, I know I'm releasing it on Friday, which is kind of weird, but I wanted to change things up to see if there's a better day in the schedule other than just Wednesdays. I'll probably return to it because I doubt that's the case, but I wanted to see how it goes. Anyways, make sure you tune in to watch the NALCS in just a couple hours. I will not be on the analyst desk for it, unfortunately, but I'll be there this weekend, so I'll see you guys next week. It sucks what happened with Yahoo Esports, but on my own personal level, I will use that time to do a couple other projects, so follow my Twitter to get any updates on what I'm doing. You'll probably see some of that stuff start coming out in the next couple weeks. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.